What was the first session like here? First
Yeah,
session?
it's just to get the players. We had a long day yesterday, so not too much in the head, a little bit, but just to get them lively, just to get them in and the spirit going, the competition, and yeah.
Greetings and welcome to Premier 7. I am your host, Ryan Nelson. Today I will be doing a live stream for the first time in a long while surrounding the Jamaica men's national team. And I want to just use this live stream as something that we can use to, let's say, re-energize ourselves, and if you want to say as well, de-stress ourselves from all the stress that we have been through with the Jamaica men's national team. I mean, this will be very much important. I trust and hope then that even though today is Sunday, for those who haven't started to cook their Sunday dinners as yet, they need to start. And for those who have already finished, then hats off to you all. Now, we know that the Jamaica men's national team will be playing the second leg of the preliminary game against St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But I just have to speak about the importance of today's topic. Today's topic is one of importance, and it's not a case that I want to put any blame on anyone, but the topic states, who is to blame? Coach Steve McClaren or the players for Jamaica's struggles? That's a question. And in that case, people, I want to just dive into the importance of such. But before I do so, I want to let you know then that I appreciate you as fans, because this channel is growing. It has surpassed a year, and if it wasn't for you as the fans, then the channel will not be where it is today. So you're seeing on the screen that I have 1,743 subscribers. How about going ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're new? And if you are already a subscriber, then you know, of course, what to do. However, I want to reach at least 1,800 subscribers before the end of this month, and today is the 23rd of March 2025. So I would need some more subscribers to get this channel up there. How are you doing though as fans as it relates to being a supporter of the Jamaica men's national team? It is not an easy thing to be a fan of a national team that struggles consistently. But what can be worse than that? Let me tell you, it is even worse to support more than one teams that are struggling. I am a supporter of Manchester United. I am a supporter of the Jamaica Talawas. I am a supporter of the Mumbai Indians. So just imagine days or years of trauma watching or even reflecting on the past struggles. You have to be strong to be on board, to stand on top of your grave, to watch and be in tune with what is taking place with the national team and also those franchise teams listed before. However, I mean, let's all just enjoy our time as long as we can on this earth. So before I talk about what is going to be done here, or before I jump into what is going to take place on this live session, I have to say a big shout out to the persons who are dropping their comments early. Derek G, states that I only have 3 subscribers, so you are blessed. Absolutely. I am blessed. I am blessed every day of my life. I am blessed. The Christian vibe from that song, and also to Mr. Vegas, who sing his own part of that song as well. So, I mean, in all that we do, we have to give thanks, right? So, Derek G, of course, I am blessed indeed, and thank you so much for your comment on Premier 7. Now, also, Dino Daly, South American and Central America style play dominant CONCACAF, not English style of play. Jamaica needs to adapt Colombia or Ecuador style of play. I mean, you have a point right there, and we can understand that Jamaica is a CONCACAF team that plays against Central, Northern, South America teams based on the type of competitions. And regionally speaking, Jamaica have a coach then that really and truly have an English background in terms of how he thinks or how he knows football should be played. And looking at how Jamaica is playing football, remember, we have players who have differences in terms of how they go about in applying themselves in different games, in different environments, at different points, at different time. Jamaica is known for being the mini Brazil. We are known for playing football, let's say, with flair, with pace, but we have strength as an additional thing. And we're very fast, but we're playing some type of football that is unconvincing to the fan base. And if Dino Daly is stating such, then I mean it is an obvious truth. Also, if we can then get a coach who then understand how Jamaica should play football, many persons will be talking about Mr. All. Others would be existing as well, but how fast can we get in somebody? And in that case, that is the reason why earlier out, I think yesterday I said it, I don't want to say I'm going to come on board to say then, oh, get rid of Coach McClaren, because what can we do instantaneously to replace him? All right. So adapting to a style of play of Colombia, Ecuador would be great because our players, I guess, they have some similar traits, but we are mixed with English-based and Jamaican players. And in that case, we have to then find a way to customize our way of playing football, implement ways that both areas in England and Jamaica culture can be mixed, and that way we can understand the chemistry or build a chemistry between the players that we currently have. So Dina Daly also stated here then that key is start from grassroots, under 17 and under 20, make them play against South America teams at home and away to get used to CONCACAF style of play. Yes, ready for World Cup and Gold Cup qualifying. That's a very, very good point. I mean, Jamaica has played several games before against teams in the CONCACAF region. And to get friendly games to play, that would be a good addition. However, we have played numerous games, as I've mentioned before, in different competitions. We played against Venezuela, we played against other teams in the region, the United States and Mexico. So these players we currently have is already of the ideology, noting then that we should understand how these teams play. And I mean, not all the time we're going to get fixtures arranged to play against them, because if we realize, I think for me personally, I am seeing less friendlies being played based on the introduction of new competitions. Remember when Argentina played Italy in a competition, I think in 2023-24 thereabouts, after they won the World Cup? I think that was a new competition. So more competitions are coming in, fixtures are getting more congested. So to arrange or to put together friendlies would not be so easy. But that point I will take on board, because we need to get accustomed to playing against these teams in our region. And there could be some form of similarities that we could then pick and choose and even refuse. The grassroots is always where things should start from. Under 17, of course, and under 20, because it's like a ladder going up. But Jamaica grassroots football it will be resting on the shoulders of the JFF, because Jamaica football is should be considered to be locally driven, but our coach is English based, so he would try to get in players who he thinks would be good enough to represent Jamaica, and in that case, it can be an issue because these players are hurriedly coming up to just come on board to play football, but they don't really understand Jamaica culture. So it's really and truly a point to consider. And the thing is, we don't want to really and truly pointing fingers on coaches or on our players to say that you're shit, bin that. No, we want to initiate a system then, or to refurbish our system if it was somewhat strong, dust it off, and then we build back from that, right? So in that case, now I just want to bring across the previous game that was being played, but by way of what was being said by Coach McClaren in the Observer. So you can see here then that the topic stated we got away. And who would say otherwise? Jamaica really and truly got away from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They played as if they are way ahead of Jamaica based on how football should be played. But luckily, we were saved by Leon Bailey. Now, this paper was written on the 23rd, which is today, and by Paul A. Reed. Big up yourself, Paul A. Reed, for the news written. So, Reggae Boys head coach Steve McClaren say they were not surprised by the intensity and organization of the St. Vincent and Grenadines team after coming from behind to earn a 1-1 draw in their CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifying game at Arnas Vale on Friday. Now, I want to say something about that right off the bat. Why is it then that you're saying that you're not surprised? You're not surprised. Then if you're not surprised, then I think our performances should have been better. No, I can understand then that some persons would say then that, hey, coach is not at fault. Because we had our chances, and typically when you even revisit the statistics, Jamaica versus St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we had a lot of chances in the earlier stage. So I understand then that, oh yes, we should not be blaming our coach. But why saying something like that you expect, or it is not strange? Then if it is not strange, then we should have at least implement ways then before the game to score, and we continue to score, would have won the game. I mean, put in place players like Cephas to start ahead of Shaman Nicholson would have been a question, right? So I mean, I really and truly don't like what he said there, but let me just continue to go along with the readings. So in his post-game press conference on Friday, McClaren said they would not get carried away, but would make their assessment going into the return leg. Absolutely. We will assess, he said. We have our thoughts, but we always evaluate the game after and try to not be emotional about the score lines. Absolutely, that is good. Removing the emotions, right? Let the emotions not be in charge of what to come. So we try to live with reality, but we know that St. Vincent, who have won defeat in their last 8, no, are well organized. No, I see your point. Well coached and are a threat in transition with their speed. So the players know we have to make sure we don't fall into the trap. All right. So I think I can work with what Coach McClaren mentioned then, because he realized that based on the last 8 games, St. Vincent became this very organized team, this team that is good on the counter. They have pacey players, they're well organized, they're well oiled. How many times do Jamaican players play with each other then? Because if we should speak about our last games, for which I'm going to really and truly reflect on when Coach McClaren came in and the games that he played, then I mean, realistically speaking, then there should have been something well said about Jamaica. Later, other teams said then that, boy, I mean, it would not be strange to see Jamaica beating us today. Well, no coach should be saying that then, but should say something similar along the line to say then that it wasn't a strange thing seeing how Jamaica played because based on their previous games, they are used to high intense playing style. They are well organized in terms of not playing long balls but making ways for their teammates. For example, playing from the back properly, making the transition into the middle, using creativity, making links with the forward line players, scoring goals. Then there should be something like a footprint for other coaches to say. It's like Coach McClaren is really and truly then commending, for which he should have been doing, of course, St. Vincent for their established way of playing football. So is it a case then that St. Vincent and the Grenadines coach is better than you? People smash like on the video so far because I am not for what he's saying in that case because if he's going to speak like that, then it realistically speaking, then it is showing us that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is expected to be ahead of Jamaica then, or is better a better nation than Jamaica in terms of football. And in that case, it is revealing to us then again that football is not played by names, but our names that we have should have been performing better than what St. Vincent and the Grenadines throws at us. And in that case, people, do you think then, based on the second leg, will Jamaica have an edge over St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Let me take a comment here. All right. So back from Dino Daly. So also a new Premier League for grassroots on the 17th and on the 20th. Example, Parish League, Clarendon versus St. Anne, St. Catherine versus Kingston, etc. 14 teams representing one parish. That is a brilliant implementation based on your idea. But remember, the initial thing about Jamaica is that we never have money as it. We never have money. So remember, we have already the Premier League in place, which is the highest level of football from the local level. That needs to be revamped, or let's say that needs some more investment. That needs to be more structured because it has been around for a good amount of years. It should be like a job for these players then, some form of way to incentivize them to play, and without saying then, why am I play, I'm making it a call up. Even if you're not getting a call up, they should be incentivized then to get some money in their pocket, more money, increase the amount that they are receiving. Even though I don't know, but I know it is not much. Remember then, schoolboy football is what we use to get in our youth to represent the nation, right? To get the nation playing some proper football. So from the schoolboy football, then we can then recruit them into the Premier League. Now, Dino, that Premier League schoolboy football, I must say, it takes a lot of private investment to come on board, right? And it takes a lot of money from companies or sponsors that particular Premier League. Now, if we're going to talk about implementing a new league from the grassroots level, then under 17 to under 20, it is not a bad idea, but we have to strengthen what we currently have. We have to strengthen what we currently have because when we don't organize what we have right now, then when those things are implemented or placed on board, then let's say it comes in, it will fail. It will not last for a long time. And that is not something that we want. It is always a good idea to see the transition because I used to play cricket. I used to play for St. Mary cricket team at the under 15 level. So yes, from the grassroots, the kiddies thing, we get into a program, then under 15, right? And then we move to under 17, but that will be getting teams to play for the region, right? Then under 19 to play for Jamaica. So, it's good to have a grassroots benchmark to start from, whereas you can see the transition, you can see players going up and up on a different level to play for the country. And in that case, now, when it comes down to the national program, then assessment should be easily made. For me, then, seeing that we are recruiting players who are of Jamaican descent based on the FIFA rules, then, why not trying to apply or to somewhat copy what Craig Butler would have done? Getting our players then to have some form of linkage with teams overseas or overseas like Europe or even in the MLS. Let them get some experience then. Let's say in the MLS era or in Brazil or in North America. In that case, of course, we then can get an understanding or how to become accustomed with playing how the CONCACAF region is playing, right? And that is something you mentioned earlier, Dino, that Jamaican should be, or Jamaica should play similar or have a style of play that can match up to Colombia, to Ecuador, to Venezuela, right? So let me take Byron Scarlett's point. So the coach is not to be blamed. A lot of people back home said the local players not getting much chances. A lot of them are not ready. Look at King. I have to quick and smart. Well, I understand what you're saying here. So many persons will be saying then, why are local players not getting a shot at playing for the national team? I mean, nothing is wrong with that. But when you give them the chance, you can then realize then that some of them are not up to par. But it is always good to look at them. And I think Coach Steve McClaren needs to do more from a local level to see what is taking place at the national, well, at the Premier League level. It's a national program, of course, whereas we can use our players and to bring into the senior team. Look or do some deeper scouting into those clubs like the Arnett Gardens, like my team Arborview that I used to support, the Waterhouse, the Till Valley Gardens, the Montego Bay United, down the line, and the list goes on. So from that now you can then have somebody, let's say a three-person from your team looking on those players, you yourself come in sometimes, and then from that you can say, all right, I'm going to go overseas and see what is taking place in the Premier League, in the MLS, in the League One. So maybe he needs a bigger team to work with. I don't know, but that is just something for which I think should be done. Now, back to what Mr. Charlotte is saying here. Um, King, I was a fan of Richard King to say that he could even start above a Damian Lowe because of the long balls that Damian Lowe normally plays, and if not the long balls, his recklessness at the back. But Damian King, that Richard King, I mean, that last game that he played against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, too many long balls, too many long balls. So coach, it is for you now and your coaching staff to make some adjustments to Richard King's style of play, because sometimes a player is used to playing one way and it may be uncomfortable to transition or to change. But guess what? We need a system. And if the system is in place, an effective system by Coach Steve McClaren, then we can then state then that if Richard King is not going to play how we play, then why not use somebody else who understand the style of play? It's like a transfer market. You get in the players who will play your style of play. So if that is what Richard King is used to, and if it is that is what Coach McClaren is using, then it will not be Richard King's fault, right? All right. So back to another comment by Derek G. So if they don't select a play, the best available players, they will not see the levels of success by desire both on and off the field in the stadium. I hope I read what you recorded properly, Mr. Derek G. Thank you for the comment again. So choosing the best players should always be what the coach and his staff work with, because when you get the best of the best players to represent the nation, it will stem from something like chemistry, style of play, understanding, and understanding will fall within the midst of chemistry. Now, I want to go back to what I said earlier out, that it is all about Coach McClaren needing his team with with, let's say, a blueprint, then looking on what they have as their objectives, looking on players from the local league and looking at players from overseas who represents us in MLS League One, Championship, and the list goes on. When you have a system in place from a blueprint, then you will know exactly what you want from your players. So when you bring them to play a friendly, a competition, and the list goes on, then we as fans will then see what type of play we do have as a national team, right? So, I mean, I love the points that have been shared here by the relevant persons who are commenting. Like, let's say, of course, Derek G, as you're seeing him on the screen here, Mr. Daly, and also Charlotte. I'm looking forward to see more persons coming on board to comment and subscribe and share the content so many more persons can see what is taking place here on Premier 7's live stream. Now, before I take Dino Daily other point, people, let me just drink some water for a while. Yes, man, the water was really and truly needed right there. I know a lot of talking, but the talking is really and truly important to speak life into the Jamaica football team and the programs that they are currently having in place. Now, taking another comment from Dino Daly, that's why local players need exposed in friendly against South American and Central America clubs. Right. Rene Simoes usually get those practice matches in the 90s. That's why Jamaica could compete in 1990s. Absolutely. And for those who did not know, or those who are learning from Dino Daly, give him a round of applause in that case, because of course that is something that he is stressing, that Jamaica men's national team needs to play against teams or clubs in the CONCACAF region. And that is what I mentioned earlier, or to state then that have some form of linkage, get some of our players playing in different divisions apart from in the Premier League, so then that they can become accustomed or adjusted to the style of play in the region. Get some of our players playing in Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela. I don't want to say Colombia because I don't know the link that Jamaica would have with that particular country. USA, of course, we have players who plays in the MLS. So yes, we're seeing players playing in Saudi Arabia like Damian Lowe. Of course, them all right. Sorry, them all right. Great Premier League, Leon Bailey. So we need to have a wider range of competitions or leagues that our players are playing in. But at the end of the day, we want for our scouts or those persons who are organizing our players to play in different games be adjusted in a way whereas the team chemistry will be highly valued for us. All right. Now, from that note, I want to speak about Coach Steve McClaren, right? I want to speak about Coach Steve McClaren. And people, smash a like on the video, please. Please smash a like on the video. The more you comment, the more you smash a like on the video and share it, the more the channel will grow. Remember, I want to get at least 1,800 subscribers at the end of the day from this. I won't say this video, but for the channel in general, because the more you support it, the more it will grow and YouTube will push it along the way. So, for Coach Steve McClaren, I want to reveal something to you guys that should have been known, but not to worry. I mean, it's my task here to share the details that I think is necessary about Coach Steve McClaren. So, Coach Steve McClaren here, he he was appointed for coach in Jamaica on the 31st of July in 2024, and his contract runs until 2026 in July. So, no World Cup time that. So it was a contract then to get him to be a coach for Jamaica, hopefully carrying us to the World Cup. So for me, it is somewhat thin because thereafter he may not want us to be Jamaica coach anymore. We need a long-term vision than that still. We need a longer-term vision. So looking on the statistics from 2024 to 2025, CONCACAF Nations League A, CONCACAF Nations League finals, international friendlies, Gold Cup qualification. Those were the games. So far, 9 games, matches, that is 3 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses, points 13. Is that bad? No, think about it. If you're just looking at the statistics, is that bad? From how many games again? How many games? From 9 games, Jamaica has won 3, drew 4, and have lost 2. And I know United States would have been in that mixture, right? If I'm wrong, correct me. That isn't bad based on paper. So what is the biggest issue? Our style of play, play, how we present ourselves to the public. That is the biggest issue. Join the game, winning the game is not as bad as how it looks on paper, but our style of play, our system of play is absolutely a shit show. Hands down. Absolutely a rubbish show. All right. So, looking on the statistics here, it isn't bad, but its formation that we currently know is the 4-2-3-1. And do you ever see him change it? I can't recall having seen Coach McClaren changing his formation. If he do that, then not a lot of times, minimal scale, right? Two persons always sitting as defensive midfielders, and then the back line is playing somewhat of a low block. The midfield is absent, ball is playing long over to the front three or the front four, and that's it. So we're not playing football that would say, hmm, when fans open their eyes or even think about the national program, they would then say, "Oh yes, what a game! Boy, I love watching Jamaica." That is far, far from what we're even thinking about, because the reality is we are yet to be convinced about Jamaica playing football. And how many times content creators like myself speak about that? So we're not playing good football. We're not playing good football, and even though it is good on paper that the names are there, and and Coach McClaren isn't looking bad based on paper, based on even his contract, then it shows in that it is hasteful. Then that to say, then instead of working on establishing something for Jamaica like a system, the haste is there to get to the work point, call it and just say it's over at the end of the day. That is what I am getting. That is what I am getting from I checked his contract. Right? Let me take another comment from Dina Daly. So Japan qualify for the World last week and lead Asia Group C zone with 19 points after beating Bahrain at home 2-0. Well, I would have to check that out. But Japan is a nation then in football that has grown, right? And remember, in '98 we defeated Japan. We defeated Japan, and look how Japan is playing football better than Jamaica. Japan is playing better football than Jamaica for years. Japan has made the World Cup more than 2 times. From the moment they entered, they would have missed one and two, I guess, but Jamaica has missed millions. Millions World Cup Jamaica miss, man. Whole heap of them they will miss. So Japan is blowing away the place. If you want to think about a nation that will make the World Cup fast enough than Japan in from an Asian perspective, there's no team that you can just think about right away that will finish in the World Cup finals than a Japan, because Japan's system of play, system implementation is on par. Should we, one of them day, me I go just check out Japan though, like take a plane and go to Japan, because Jamaica not say nothing, Jamaica not say nothing, people, but it is for the makings. It is for the makings. All right, so I want to now show you guys what Jamaica would be like then when Mr. Steve McClaren take charge. But before I do so, just give me a second to do something. All right? Give me a quick second. People may not going away. Just give me a quick second, all right? We'll be back within a few seconds. Just sharing something. All right, so I am back. Thank you so much for the patience, my people. Thank you so much for giving me that spare time to do what I had to do, because there and then, I mean, I want for other persons to become engaged with what is taking place on the channel. So yeah, man. Still here. Soon come back on the screen, people. Give me a second. All right, so I am back, people. Thank you so much for the patience. As I've said earlier, I was just sharing the content with some other persons because I wanted for this live stream to be seen, and of course to get more persons on board to be engaged with what is being discussed here about the Jamaica men's national team, of course, the Reggae Boys. Now, before I take the other comment from Dina Daly, who has been very much useful today on the platform, I want to just revisit the games that Steve McClaren coached the national team to see the games that we really played and to see was these games really threat to Jamaica. All right, so let me just get this thing up on the screen so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So remember, he came in right thereafter the eviction of coach Hermeral Grimson, who went back to his homeland, right? And right thereafter, we could say then that games were going to come up for a coach McClaren to take on. RR saying that is this a new channel? This is Premier 7. This is a football channel that I own, right? Maybe you subscribe to my other channel, which is the West Indies Cricket Central page. Well, maybe that's the question that you're asking. But this is not a new channel, right? But this is all about Reggae Boys football today, so you can just become a part of what is taking place. All right, so back to what is taking place now on board. So when we had Coach McClaren represented Jamaica, we played against Cuba. We drew. Honduras, we won 2-1. Nicaragua, we won 2-0. Honduras, 0-all. We lost the United States 1-0. We lost 4-2 to United States. We defeated Trinidad and Tobago 1-0. We drew against Trinidad 1-1. And then we drew against St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, people, let's be honest. Let's be really, really honest here. These games that we're looking at, how many teams are ranked above Jamaica based on FIFA rankings since the arrival of coach Steve McClaren? Only United States, and we lost 4-2 to them and we lost 1-0 to them. The other teams that we played against should have been brushed aside. What is the biggest issue? We don't have a system of play. We did not, and we are yet to establish a style of play. I mentioned earlier on that based on what I saw about the contract of coach Steve McClaren, obviously, the main aim is to get Jamaica to the World Cup. Because I'm not seeing where as then a program is put in place that would show us the viewpoints then to say then that, all right, having a coach like Steve McClaren in place, we would then say then this is the future of Reggae Boys football. I am not seeing any future. And as what RR said, the problem is system. We don't have a system. And if we don't have a system in the people, we will continue and forever be a shit country at football. All right? Excuse my language if it is disrespectful, but I am not like that. So to bounce back on what that was mentioned by RR, Dino Daly said that from 98, Japan never missed a World Cup before 90s. Japan never had professional league, it was amateur league. They invested in their structure and reaping success. Thank you for that point. It was the same thing for Belgium national team. The golden generation that came about in 2010 thereabout, Belgium wasn't all that in terms of football, And based on the heavy investment by the government who wanted to see Belgium playing some proper football, getting the country on the market, that's how Belgium implemented a system of play. And from that system of play, it would stem from having a committee, all of those business terminologies that would bring across as what Dino would mention earlier about the grassroots stuff, getting players recruited, putting them in different leagues, getting them playing together as one. It was all because of that. Then we saw how Belgium became a powerhouse. Remember, Belgium became a powerhouse in football on a high level, whereas they were ranked number three at one point. They were ranked number three at one point in the FIFA rankings. And it was so sad to say that the golden generation did not want something major, but we knew from that point that Belgium was not an easy team to beat. All right. So we need something like Japan, then, I guess, or like Belgium. We have to have lovers of the game who have vision for the sport. And I tell you, it is too many things to even think about right now. So we played Croatia 98, which was their first time. And see, they are in the semi-finals. Semi and finals, of course, because the World Cup that we played against Croatia, that was their first World Cup, and they were really good. They were really and truly good. And we saw thereafter that they played a lot of big games in Euros, in different qualification games, in friendlies. Croatia is a top nation in football now. It is Croatia is a bigger nation in football than the United States and Mexico. Of course, because USA and Mexico never reach a FIFA World Cup final, neither a semi-final. So Croatia is a bigger nation, right? But man, I think maybe it's corruption in the system that continues to push back Jamaica downwards in trying to at least establish themselves as a nation in football, because we're nowhere close to that. And I don't know, but as I stated earlier out, based on the games that our coach would have played, only United States was the only threat, and we're scraping results against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, against Honduras, against Cuba. What type of teams are those? Jamaica is like West Indies then, living off their past, because our past would be then the 98 World Cup. And boy, as what would say, our truth about Croatia. Of course, Croatia has developed a system. Maybe at the white bread might because Croatia have the white bag. The white bread bag. If you don't really pay attention to that, I wonder if that Croatia use as them secret for a place to go in football. The white bread, the giant bread. But yeah, man, Croatia plays some very good football. I think they defeated, was it France? Sometime in the week. Yeah, I think it was France. So we're seeing Croatia playing football good here and there, here and there. The semi-final that they played in 2018. Was it 2018? That was so long ago. I can hardly remember. It wasn't. They played in the final in 2018 against France, right? And before that, they were playing good football here and there. They even defeated Argentina. So it was just like a revenge that they took on Croatia before they even won the World Cup against France. So why people? I don't know. What Jamaica is really horrible at football, and I really actually don't want to point fingers on anyone, but I have a quote even to talk about this, because We have a coach who should be our leader, and we have a captain like Andre Beck who should be our leader. So leaders inspire accountability through their ability to accept responsibility before they place blame, by Courtney Lynch. So if we should then point fingers at the players, based on the quote, it will more so lean towards the coach who should be more responsible for what is taking place in the national team. And I don't think coach Steve McClaren is a developer, you know. I don't see him as someone who develops Jamaica football because I am not seeing anything written or anything said then to say then we're going to start from this, we're going to start from that, and then we're hoping then that this will be our end result. There's no vision. It's like we're in a dark tunnel and we're just driving on a train, and we are just moving along the way without having any point of stop. But the point of stop will be for Jamaica when more so we may not make it to the World Cup. Because people, let's be honest, and especially like on the video, let's be honest. Do you think or do you see Jamaica making it to the World Cup based on how we're playing football so far? We're not playing no football, you know. We're not playing no football. We're not playing no football. We're not going nowhere in our World Cup. If we can't beat St. Vincent, I think tonight, then where are we going? Where are we going? So it is really and truly horrible. It is really and truly horrible. And I know I spoke about Steve McClaren for far too much on the video. So let me just then roll the dice and start to talk about some of our players. Let me just ease off of Coach McClaren for a while in terms of what I'm saying. Come on, everybody come and say why for that. Let me just then point some fingers at the players. All right. A time for put some blame on the players, you know, man. My phone was ringing a while ago, which led to some form of distraction. But anyway, back with the show. Hold on for a second. Why people sorry about that again, you know. Sometimes you just get called randomly if you just do something. Sure. Let me get this back fixed. Alright. Alright, so let me just take some comments before I talk about that. So Dina Daily, West Indies next thing, them don't have patience to play. Well, we're not gonna take no cricket comment, right? I say, you know. Talk about reggae boys football, alright? However, respect for the comments in that case. I'm not here to talk about the West Indies cricket team here. I am here to talk about um the reggae boys. So I don't want to lose my concentration in terms of talking about something else. All right, so back at pointing some fingers at the players of the reggae boys. Let me change this. Let me change this to the reggae boys players. I hope this is the right thing. All right, so just assessing, doing some small assessment about the players who were given the highest ratings then from the, what was that? The, is it the Copa America from 2024, right? So our outstanding players were Mikel Antonio, Jamal Waite, Shamar Nicholson, Bowser, Ethan Pinnock, Damian Lowe, Michael Hector, Casey Palmer, Demarai Gray, Lati Bodir, and Kyle Dixon to round off the top 10. We understand now that Mikel Antonio would have been absent due to the fact that he's recovering to come back to play football. We know what happened in the past about the accident, so he would have not been available. His rating was 6.93. No one on the list right here, ratings, is at 7. So it is more so average or not so good. Wade was inspiring to watch as a goalkeeper. I like how he plays as a second and goalkeeper to uh Blake. Now, Bowser Shamar Nicholson, people, if you guys are big fans of Shamar Nicholson, I don't see what really and truly convinced you guys to be fans of him. He's not playing football that I like. As a striker, you should be doing more. Yes, the defenders and the midfield may not be playing good at all times, but I think Shamar Nicholson has been around the Jamaica system for a long time. No, I am not saying that we should remove him from the national program, though, but him for a bench, man. Him for a bench. Him for a bench. And give man like Cephas a start as a more fluent and effective frontline player. Because a long ball isn't working, McClaren fixed that. And if you fix that, so we need players who can play a fluent system up front. If the front four is playing fluid, like a Bailey, a Gray, Reed, and then Cephas up front, then I think we will need some better results. All right, so Damian Lowe, well, Ethan put up before Lowe. I mean, he's a steady heady, so he's okay. Lowe, here and director. Don't think he'll be coming back for now. Casey Palmer, absent. Not bad, but needs more than Casey Palmer. We need a John Russell. I think on all programs, if not, well, some of my programs, a lot of them I talk about John Russell. So he's one that Jamaican fans like myself are crying to see. Demarai Gray, getting inconsistent. Latibody here, hot and cold. Kyle Dixon, bright talent. Cephas, bright talent as well. So should we then talk about the leagues that these players are playing in then? Because if you really assess the leagues that our players are a part of, these leagues aren't big leagues. But then again, we have players who used to play in lower leagues for example, let's say Argentina, let's say Belgium. Sometimes the players who play for the national team aren't from any top 5 teams in Europe or top European league teams. So it's not where you come from, it's what you do when you're being selected. So I don't really want to use that point to say then that the leagues that we're playing in are not good enough, because based on the examples I just gave, it would not be matching up. So, can we compare the night performance Shamar to Anderson from St. Vincent? This is a good question from RR. Can we compare the night's performance Shamar to Anderson from St. Vincent? I can do so, because it was like a one-way streak then to say how both players would have been playing, who would have received the better ratings. Absolutely, the man from St. Vincent. Anderson, he was a person who scored. He was linking up plays with his teammates quite well. And remember, Anderson isn't a striker for St. Vincent either. So let me just pull up something here. St. Vincent versus Jamaica. Statistically, though, Jamaica had a better statistic than St. Vincent, because in terms of shots on goal, corners, fouls won, Jamaica was way ahead in terms of even passing completion. But you want for me to talk about Bowser versus um, such player. Let me see if I can find something. I'm not. The ratings is somewhere on the screen or somewhere in the makings here, but let me see. I had it earlier on. But from the tip of my head, Nicholson is a different player from Anderson. I am not saying he's a better player than Anderson, but Anderson is more free flowing, pacey. He's a fluid player. He is somebody who can give defenders trouble. He is somebody who can get his team over the line. He's energetic. Bowser slow, tall, good in the air, not really. Controlling the ball properly, not really. Me not even like that about Shaman Nicholson. Honestly speaking, he have that potential. He's playing in a CONCACAF region. He's playing in Mexico League. He's playing good to some extent because he has improved. But game in game with Jamaica, man, Bowser just... Boy, I mean, I don't know if it's about Bowser, yeah, man. Team Aggressive, big up yourself, my general. Premier 7, big up. Thank you for coming on board. And I hope that you guys are enjoying the show so far. If you guys can even share this video to other persons, then I would really appreciate that. But big up to Team Aggressive. What do you think about Shamar Nicholson? Because RR wanted for me to do a comparison between Bowser and Anderson from St. Vincent. And I'm going to start the truth. Based on just that game, based on the request, Bowser is nowhere close to Anderson. It was just a one game comparison. But sometimes you just can look on one game and then you determine who is better. Bowser is in class. Then again, I don't know much about Anderson, but looking from the naked eye in that game, he was way ahead. He capitalized on his chances. So we play next at Sabina Park. Can we adjust to tight spaces? Remember now, the system that Jamaica plays is not good. Long ball, playing, side-to-side passes. Nothing is there to convince me to believe that we can even play in tighter spaces. Maybe St. Vincent, if their confidence is still there, will run over Jamaica. It was just a mistake, that they have made, and the cause are considered a penalty. But the fluidity of St. Vincent, as what Coach McClaren stated, that the last 8 games, I think they only lost 1 game. So they're very organized and well driven, well coached. Then it is no surprise by way of what McClaren stated then. But tighter spaces, Jamaica don't play tight space football, because what is wrong now is that, let's say a wide winger in a Bailey or a Demarai Gray, they hold on to the ball sometimes for far too long. But if the midfield was making themselves available, then I think Bailey would have made some passes, even though he's somewhat not that type of player. Because I saw when Lembikisa gave him the ball on the wing, Lembikisa put himself into the middle, and Bailey continued to run along the wing. Even if you get clipped, then man, pass the ball in the midfield. But sometimes the midfield is just too slow to, because Isaac Eden isn't quick. He's not quick. Latibodier, no one wants him in the midfield. No one wants him in the midfield. We're going to me say people. If me tell them that joke, no matter laugh off of me, A while ago, the hold on there. Yes, a while ago, the earpads. Me don't know. Me hand go touch it as you know can see. And a massacre. Me start to hear sing whites. Him and the rapper there. And I kick out my screen again, but the show is still continuing. And of course, Father Bling saying here then that bless up Premier 7 and the chat. Hats off to you, hats off to everybody who is in the chat. I am really and truly impressed with the turnout. I am really and truly happy for the likes, the comments, people. This is a very much engaging live stream, and people, oh no, I make the video go on. So remember, people, to smash a like on the video, share the content so other persons can see it. I want to at least get 1,800 subscribers by the end of this month. And if it can happen even by the end of this video, that would be amazing. So bless up Father Bling, and of course the chat deserves their big up as well. Cheryl Edwards, that's my aunt. She's one of my favorites. Big up yourself. Thank you so much for supporting Premier 7. Always a good supporter and a very nice person here and there. You know, at least taste the food of my auntie cook. When I drop down to your food sweet. Big up yourself, Auntie V. All right. So, Team Aggressive stated now that Boza wash up. Boy, from you know Boza, I always wash up, you know. From you know Boza, my brethren, Boza wash up. Mm-hmm. From you know Boza, I wash up, brethren. Boza. Boza not my type of striker, I want on my side. No, sir. Boza needs to be better. I'm not gonna say he's not a good player on his day, but when will be Boza's day? Do you guys know when it will be Boza's day? Because Boza isn't a top striker. Me just take out the earpods them a while ago because them keep on playing Massacre and Whites now. Me not have time for this now. Whites now. You see me? But boy, Derek G is saying then that I heard that Boza is coming off the bench in his Mexico team. Well, if that is so for true, then why not Coach McClaren trying the same thing for Jamaica? Because Boza to me now, he's not fluent with his play. He's affecting the fluency in terms of Jamaica frontline playing. So when the ball reaches the final third, even if both get a 1 and 2 chance, Boza might score. And we don't want to say might or maybe score. Give Cephas that chance. I don't understand why Coach McClaren and his team are not seeing the obvious truth that players like Russell needs a chance. Cephas need to start. Kyle Dixon needs game time more. I think Kyle Dixon came on in about 80th minute And that is nonsense, brother. That is absolutely nonsense. So far, I'm not coaching Jamaica team good. Mm-mm. He's not coaching the team good. But I will not say get him out. Maybe you guys can say that. All right. So the players that I spoke about, they were okay, but their average is less than 7. So it shows me then that Jamaica football isn't up to par, isn't up to scratch. We're not playing good football. And people, I think there's no way going forward, with this coaching system. Don't let me know anything because I'm not convinced about Jamaica football. It is so boring that me can't watch them. I love my national team, but me just can't watch them people. And in that case, I am hoping that tonight's game will be better. But Jamaica football is energy draining. It is very much energy draining. I mean, no say no one tell me the same thing. A long time we have played football now, man, and we just I am drained because of the reggae boys. But people, I am going to call it an end to this live stream at this moment or very soon. But yeah, man, me there for about an hour. I am surprised. I am really and truly happy for the turnout for the live. People, if this live gets to 1,000 views or more, I would really and truly appreciate what was being said. Now, let me take some comments. Father Bling. So this coach use an English FA agent or him lazy and not doing his homework on players who is playing consistently 75% of players, bench players, and the coach a start. Now I am picking out what is being said here because I will agree. I think the coach needs to do more in terms of his homework. More in terms of his homework. Our players are not up to par. We're not playing proper football. Proper scouting is not being done. The players are not being watched. It is something I spoke about earlier on. The homework is not being done. I think he may want to, like when you go to school and you get a homework to do and you forget it and then you see your good friend and you say, I'm copy out your book. Yeah, man, or something like that, Mr. Coach McClaren, I do, man. Oh, Leach Young or Chung, how you pronounce your name? Tonight's game? No, man. If I said that earlier out, it was a mistake. We're not play until Tuesday. So if I made an error, of course, I am human-based person, so I will make mistakes. So thank you for the correction. All right. Jamaica will be playing against St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Tuesday the 25th of March at 7 p.m. in the second leg in Jamaica, of course. And RR, thank you so much for the subscription. People, me a beg on man. Uno can see it on the screen. See there? Which one me and go? Right, so see there? 1,743 subscribers. Bring up the subscription code, man. Up, and up, and up, and up, and up, and up. I don't know the access started now anything with lava. So we need some subscriptions, man. Yeah, man. Alright, so Father Bling asks half hour more. Well, let's see how far I can go. Let me drink some more water. I am not saying no, people. I am supporting any political team. Unless see me orange buckle, unless see me green cap. Yeah, man. Me kind of tired. I have to save up some of the energy for the, Because I'm going to play some football later. My friend them call me. Say they want to play some ball. Like a little six-a-side competition. So, boy, we can't play football now. Can't play football, but me feel like we can do better than reggae boys in a little scrimmage. I am not a professional footballer, but I have a little skill set. Simple playing. Sometimes I might do a bit more than simple, but I like to play basic football, pass the ball, find spaces, calculate your shots and those type of things. Right? So, So how the local crowd feel about the team? Well, RR wants me to take the show to the streets. That is for a future video, you know. For now, I don't have that planned as yet because of different work schedules and life in general. But maybe for the future, I will take it to the streets based on how the channel grow, because I want for my channel to grow, so that would be a good way to get it out there. But I can think about asking persons what they think about Jamaica football and just see if I can have it videoed properly and throw up here on the channel, because people need to see more of Premier 7, not only here, sitting down, but also in the streets. All right, so let's hear what Team Aggressive have to say. I think Jamaica need to employ Team Aggressive now because he's aggressive. So the coach wants to build up from the back, but the coach failed to call up midfield players that the team needs to improve in midfield with John Russell and Ravel Morrison. I mean, yes, because if you as a coach wants to have football playing from the back, right? Through the middle, up to the front, you need transition. You need players to play that. And Ravel Morrison was one of Jamaica's key players at number 10. Bobby Reed isn't good as Ravel Morrison, right? We need the connections. We need for a John Russell to collect the ball and make passes. He's slow, but not as slow as how we think. I can only remember the Mexico game that he played, not to say average, but he played well in that game. His height is very useful. His presence, his body, everything about that player Jamaica needs. I won't say he's a monster in the midfield, but you give him more games. He's playing well for Barnsley. We need for him to play for Jamaica, and even if he decide to turn us down, maybe a 1 and 2 time, or we did not pick him, we need to build a better bond with our local players. Local as in he plays for Jamaica before. Local players, yeah, you understand what me I say. We need for him to get some more chances, man. We are chase overseas based players, we not get them. Boy, me tell me dream because of Jamaica, brother. So, yes, man. We're far. Well, me see like I said, we need some street reaction. And it would be fun, you know. It would be fun. I think I was even encouraged by my cousin to at least go to Sabina Park or the National Stadium when Jamaica is playing games, and just get engaged with persons. But me live far from Sabina Park and far from National Stadium. Not far, like to say 2 hours it would take, but it's for the future. It's for the future. Because the streets really and truly want to know what going on in a reggae boys camp, behind the scenes. So Nitro is asking whose fault? The JFF. They failed to support Al Grimson, forcing him to leave, then hired the worst international coach from England. When we had Al Grimson, there was somewhat of a better bond to me, apart from the name, because the name would give Coach McClaren the edge. But Al Grimson, he was that coach who we could see that was somewhat spending more time with the national system, but sometimes he was far away as well. But I think Al Grimson was more of the type of coach who would pay more attention to what is taking place with the national program. Yes, he was not seen much because for me, he's more like a less outspoken person to a McClaren. McClaren have a bond with Jamaica in the past now because he used to work in a system that looks at Jamaica football. So things like those would give him the edge or to get him to represent or to coach Jamaica. But there was something about Al Grimson that was somewhat adding up, but I think he was somewhat frustrated with Jamaica because he came into a system then having issues with maybe a Leon Bailey at this or that. So I mean, he just decided to say, all right, I don't know what the real reason was, but I think he was getting to the point of being tired, so he decides to move on. But no joke about Al Grimson. Well, Steve McClaren being one of the worst coaches in England. Yes, the stat shows that, but we just want to see some good football playing. That's all we want, for some good football to be playing. So Grimmy got good results. The Canadian game was a perfect example. football is a results game, of course, because without the results, then what is there to be assessed, right? The poorer the results, the more banter, the better the result, the more commendations. So, um, who to blame? Coach Steve McClaren or the players for Jamaica struggles? Both of them, you know, both of them, both of them. So, um, I am going to see if I can go up until 2:30. So 8 more minutes to go. I am getting a bit hungry, and I have to give myself the energy needed for the six-a-side competition that I will be, a part of. So don't we have like 7 new players coming in? Boy, we only hear about the players, but we are yet to know what's happening. We do content surrounding the latest news or opinions shared about them, like the Mason Greenwood. He's more so the most promising one that we think will be coming in, but the paper hasn't signed as yet. Lewis Baker, Rico Henry. What's happening to Sterling? He was one of those names that was mentioned along the way last year very much, and nothing, nothing at all. Can Jamaica get Ian Fredo? I think based on how we're playing, I think he would more so want to play for the United States team. He was born there. He used to their culture, so you can just take him off our list. Jamaica does not play convincing football, and we can show stats. We can implement systems here on YouTube to say then, all right, this is what we can look at. This is what we can look at for to better of Jamaica football. But no, so nothing now work. Nothing isn't working, and I wish I could get some super chats for this video, but I think based on my location, it is not accessible. It is not available. But with you guys being here, I really appreciate um the support. So no matter how many new players we get, we will struggle with McClaren. Nitro G, we're not wrong if I say that. We will struggle because we don't have a system. We don't have a system, man. We don't have a system. But Ian Frey's sister plays for the Reggae Girl. Yes, we know that. And that is why we can have an Ian Frey playing for Jamaica. But if you were in Ian Frey's shoes, Lee Young, would you want to play for Jamaica? Or would you want to give yourself some more time to play for the United States? The United States team is a very good team based on system. For years on top of years, USA has been playing very well in the CONCACAF region. They're the best alongside Mexico. Canada, Panama is somewhat off from them. But even though his sister played for Jamaica, he may want to have a different ambition. Look at the Boateng brothers. One played for Ghana, one plays for Germany. So even I think the Williams, Nico Williams, the brothers, one play for Ghana, one play for Spain. So maybe Ian Frey want to play for United States. The system is easier to, I don't want to say it is easy to become a part of, but the system is more so better to be in. To be in a program, if you're not playing for the MLS team, when you go to play for or to train with your national team, there's a system. Jamaica now have no system. We now have no system. So team aggressive, defense, win tournaments. Alex Ferguson. Well, that's my team we're talking about here. My coach, Alex Ferguson. We had great defenders in Alex Ferguson's day, but we had a very good squad playing, starting and coming from the bench. So what I'm saying here is that defense win games, midfield win games, strikers, forwards, attackers win games. So Manchester United back in the days, we had fluidity. We had players in the midfield, we had players from the back line, up front, in the goal, on the pitch, off the pitch, who could have won us the games? So, I mean, come on. We were so good in those days at Manchester United, and Manchester United knows like reggae boys. So I get the feeling McClaren camps, my apology, are not serious, and it shows in the lack of intensity on the field. Well, it sounds as if you are there to really see what is taking place about the camp not being serious. I think you have a point. I am not. I don't know, but if it is true, it is true. We all speak about the truth. We speak for the truth here on Premier Sevens platform. The community is all about the truth. So, I mean, the players are trying, but they're not good enough. And the camps are not serious. Mm, maybe, as I've said earlier, maybe they're not serious enough. We need better players, hands down. We need better players. And Father Bling, Real Talk Nitro, Buck Coach, JFF. Why not employ McClaren based on name? Based on name, you know. Based on name because he was at Manchester United. He worked with Jamaica system before. So it was an easy get. Yeah, man, it was an easy get. So we got him in. But remember that period in time thereafter the hurricane, or within the hurricane time of Beryl last year, right? Jamaica had been linked to several coaches. Maybe I can only remember the Dwight York. But there was a coach from Argentina that we were looking at as well, Paul All, who was before a Jamaican coach. But here we go. We had no one recruited and we got a Steve McClaren, right? So I see more. So let's take some comment then before the show is being closed off. So I see more of players singing love songs. This is war, not rising stars. Yeah, top Billy. Yeah, in the camp they were singing the love song thing. And when they should play for Jamaica, or when they went to play against St. Vincent, I think them sing out them soul, them sing out them energy, them start play rubbish. But you know, Nitro, if everyone took the mic from Bailey and sang their own song, maybe there would have been a lot of goals scored by Jamaicans because Bailey was the man who took the microphone and he was a player who scored for Jamaica. Look at it. Look on it that way too, man. Right? So Chris Smith, Nitro, Real, Bug, Al Grimson, out John Wall, the local players wasn't on the level McClaren said. They are gem. Al Grimson start 9 heritage players and we beat Panama. Why did JFF change that? See, so McClaren was using up the local players. That was what I was saying earlier out now. He looked like the coach who had a vision to not only get Jamaica to the World Cup, but beyond that. Because when he was leaving, he said then that he wants for that particular coach who was going to take over. I don't remember word for it, but something similar along the line. For the coach who is going to take over, he wants for that coach to take Jamaica to another level. And with McClaren, we're not on the other level. Right? Imagine 9 heritage players and we beat Panama. So we saw really a one. So it's like a seesaw when we had McClaren comparing them with Al Grimson, up and down. We don't know who is even better than who. Two of them are not top coach still, but McClaren, I don't know. We talk a lot about these coaches and we just not get what we want to see as fans, you know? So team aggressive football is a result game, but can you get continued positive results with bad performances? Example, Jamaica bad performance. Exactly. I believe in players, good football, and one day the positive results will come. So it stems from good performances that will give us the good results, right? Team aggressive, excellent point. Because at the end of the day, if you have a system, and it is that RR mentioned that Jamaica doesn't have a system, and a system of a problem for a long time. Really and truly, when you see the system, and for example, what Ruben Amorim is trying at Manchester United, big up my side again, the system will show then that this is what we're working from, and the results will come along the way. So, Chris is saying, no, Nitro, I mean Al Grimson and John Wall said that the local players wasn't on the level. Okay. All the comments are flying now. RR, how can the coach function effective with his team pitched by a committee and not him? Good point. He has to choose his own team, right? So I heard that Ravel airfare is too expensive, so JFF better start saving up some money to call him. Oh boy. We need to get back Ravel Morrison in the squad, man, because thereafter this game against St. Vincent coming on Tuesday, our next game will be in June. And It's not gonna be too far. That's a World Cup qualifying game against British Virgin Island. All right. Team aggressive from Nitro saying Team aggressive. Grimmy was struggling to fix the midfield. Look at the report in the Observer, June 30, 2024. The JFF did not help him getting the piece he wanted. So midfield always our issue. We need to bench and we need to select a couple good players. And with a joke bench, let me go again, Chris Smith. We need a bench. We need to keep selecting a couple good players and with a joke bench because the stakeholders want a balance. Well, you would have to explain what you're saying there, but I think you're really trying to say then that Jamaica need to establish themselves on the pitch and having a strong bench so we can have a balance on the pitch. All right, so it is now 2:32 people and I am drained. This video has lasted for 1 hour and 27 minutes. I'm going to close the show now because I'm tired. So thank you so much for the help here, people. I am so impressed with the turnout. RR saying here, like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much. And I am hoping then that the other persons will do so. People, when we can copy the channel, the channel link and paste it on the WhatsApp status and just drop subscribe to Premier 7. Remember, on the one me go to nice streets to get the views of supporters. And me not get no subscribers. How on earth me gonna do that if me not get no support? Right? So no help me out, man. Help me out. So Chris Smith, the last comment. Nitro from John Wall told them that the local players wasn't good enough. They start fighting. We don't want to reach anywhere. We want to use a couple good players to sell the local players. Team aggressive. The coach said we have 2 games in England in April. We are said team aggressive. We're gonna play against England because if we were play against England, no brother, we did I show it. This is not like Scotland against England. What we can say, boy, England look good enough, but Scotland always give them a fight. So, so we need you go parish by parish. Let's hear the voice of the streets. And that is really a good recommendation. But it will take not only my own effort, I will need assistance to do so, but it is for the future. So people, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Remember, people, I say copy the link and share to people on a WhatsApp contact. We need assistance from people on the contact to support Premier 7. So the topic was, who's to blame? Coach Steve McClaren or the players for Jamaican struggles? I mean, it was absolutely a blessing to have you guys on board. And I want to say hats off to you for the support. I am off. I am tired. And let's close the show. All right. Bye-bye, people. More live videos will be coming. And, of course, more videos apart from live will be posted. So take care. Goodbye until we meet again. Let me just drop a little outro. We're going to hear what one. Not an outro, no, like to say video, but just